please like or dislike the video or leave a comment below. That will allow me to produce better videos and more of them in the future. So I just wanted to say thank you very much for the feedback and the comments that I'm getting on the videos. There's been a noticeable uptick in the amount of comments that I get, and it's great because it allows me to figure out what you're interested in seeing. And also, when I record a video, I tend to do it sort of off the cuff. I don't prepare it or drag up loads of detail. I just sit here and record it, whether it's in front of the screen or in front of the camera. And so I don't tend to think it through very much. I just do whatever pops into my head. And the problem is that in my head, there is enormous amounts of information. So I've studied every single aspect of the market, from a few milliseconds to a few hours to a few days. And I've looked at every single aspect of the market. One of the things that you notice when you analyze and go into this level of depth is like there's a top level, there's a sort of a strategy. So for example, lay the field. If you look at lay the field, everybody follows the same sort of pattern of behavior. But when you actually start looking at it seriously, you realize that there are variations on it that work much better than the generic strategy that's pushed out there all of the time. But when you look at that, you realize there's another level below it, and then there's another level, and another, and another, and another. So it almost gets infinite, and it's the same with football, with racing. You know, you look at a racing market, I can look at a racing market and tell you how it's going to behave in many hours' time. Because not only have I traded it, but I've gone to great effort and expense to model it as well. So when you know and you see that something works, it's worth explaining it, because then you can modify your behavior in a number of different ways. And if the market shifts, you shift, or if there's a fundamental change, then you know how that's going to impact the market. But what I'm trying to say here is that there's an enormous amount of depth and stuff that I've looked at over the years. So it's very difficult for me to order that in a sensible manner. So the feedback that you give and the comments that you make are invaluable to me. I suggest really that you make more comments, because when I've done videos in the past, and I've done them off the cuff, people have asked certain questions and I've looked at it and thought, well, yeah, I can answer that. I can do a video on that. So it's helpful for me if you do comment, because that just gives me a better idea of what you're thinking. And sometimes people say things that are just completely wrong. So it's good to be able to take the opportunity to look at that and sort of, you know, give you my opinion on it. That opinion comes from actually doing it. It's not an opinion derived from some crazy theory. So, you know, use that. There are lots of things that I do that I don't necessarily speak about or blog about, partly because I don't have the time, but also because of the depth in which I can go. So if you've got a genuine query, then it's always worth posting it up and asking a few questions. But they need to be sort of sensible questions, because if you just say, hey Peter, how can I make millions of pounds worth of money with little or no effort? Obviously I'm not going to do a video on that. But if you ask a genuine question, it's like, oh, I noticed you said this in that video, and why did you say that? Or what was the situation over here? Or is there some advice you can give me on this? Then that's always very interesting. So yeah, you know, fire away and leave some comments, and that will help me understand what you're thinking, and I can put my input into that, make a note of it, and when I come around to record videos, then I'll attempt to answer some of those questions or give you my view on that particular question that you've asked. There's so much depth that I've got, it would be impossible to get it all out in videos. I could be going for years. But I can push you nearer to that goal, or push you into a certain way of thinking that will come from absolute direct experience of the markets. Click here to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll get instant notification of new videos as they're released.